Is manifestation an inherently lazy process? Hi, my name is Leah Chantel, and today I'm asking the question, is manifesting an inherently lazy process? Which is a really interesting question because sometimes when we're manifesting something, it can seem like magic. It can seem like the thing appears just because we thought about it. It's almost like the universe picked up on our desire and we got it coming like a delivered pizza. It does happen once in a while, but having said that, most of the time and on important projects, it usually doesn't work that way. But what also doesn't work when you're trying to manifest something is really trying to push or force an outcome. So if you're working your butt off and you're not taking care of your health, if you are trying to manipulate somebody, or if you're doing something coercive to make something happen, then things can backfire. You may get what you want temporarily. It's possible. We do see it happen from time to time. But having said that, the people around you, if you've done something wrong to manipulate them, they're usually resentful, and you're only going to have your success for a certain period of time before you have your downfall. So what is the secret to manifestation? If you're not supposed to work too hard, but you're not supposed to be too lazy, then how do we strike the right balance? How do we achieve the things that we want to achieve, but without trying to push or force anything? And here's probably the key concept to manifestation that will allow you to kind of integrate both sides of the equation perfectly. And that is, you have to assume the identity of somebody who's already succeeded. So let's say you want to become a CEO and you're trying to manifest that. Well, you study CEOs. What are they like? What do they do in a day? And how do they identify themselves? You want to take on the identity of whatever you're trying to achieve. And if you have that identity, then you've got the best shot at achieving what you want. So if you're working towards becoming a CEO, but you don't really believe that it's possible, that you'll work really hard and then you'll never get there, then you won't ever get there. On the other hand, we don't just become a CEO without deserving it. We can't do nothing in the process. So faith becomes a very key component when we're trying to manifest something that's important to us. And faith allows us to redirect when maybe the goal we set isn't appropriate for us. Let's say we set a goal to go to law school, but the universe knows that if we go through law school and we become a lawyer, that we actually won't be feeling really happy in our lives. So we may get a redirect. We may get pointed towards a different program that you do as a graduate study, or maybe a different job or a different business idea, and that will redirect your life. And so that can happen. We get redirects all the time, and that doesn't necessarily mean that you failed. It means the universe is trying to point you in a direction that's a better fit for you. And so that's the part where you have to surrender. And sometimes the whole process that you're working on won't come to fruition for a very long time, and you won't know the result for perhaps years after you've tried to manifest something. You can go through a long period of lag time sometimes, and it can appear like the thing you were trying to achieve didn't manifest. But then there's also the person who doesn't have faith. So the person who works very hard and doesn't have faith is likely to not succeed. And it's very easy to lose faith. When we don't see any evidence that anything we've tried appears to be working, then it is very easy to kind of go, well, this was a waste of time and I should give up. How do you know that you're actually on the right track? And this is where sometimes having a good peer group or having a mentor can be very useful. If you're really not sure you're on the right track towards your goals or your dreams and ambitions, maybe you need a sounding board. Maybe you've been working on it on your own for way too long. And so you need just a friendly chat about your goals and ambitions with somebody who knows, maybe even for 30 or 40 minutes. Sometimes that's all it takes, is to have a conversation with somebody, and then you realize what you need to work on. I did this a while ago, actually. It was very interesting. I was working on a book, and I still am, but I got close to finishing it. And then I had a conversation with somebody who was able to publish it for me. It was like paid for publishing. And it was very interesting. I realized in that conversation that I was actually very nervous about having the book out in the world. And that was something I needed to work on, was the identity of being an author. I mean, it was so crazy that I'd written a whole book and that I still hadn't identified with feeling like an author yet. So that was something I needed to work on. I needed to make sure that I felt that identity, that yes, I am becoming an author and I'm having a book out in the world in order to finally finish the project and achieve my dreams and goals and ambitions in that area of my life. So that's just an example, but we have imposter syndrome all the time, especially when we're trying new things and we're experimenting, and then we can feel like we're not the person that we're trying to be. We're not the person who identifies as having a paid course in the world or having a book out in the world. And when we don't identify with that, then even if we work towards it and we try to put something together, we'll have no chance of finishing it because we'll lose motivation and we'll stop working on the things that are important to us if we don't truly believe that they're going to come about, if they're not going to be a useful product or a project for us to work on. So that's where identity is very important, but identity by itself won't do the work for you. You've probably also met some very arrogant people in your life who have identities of assuming that they're going to do great things, but then they actually don't do anything. So those people also don't know how to manifest either, and they're just blocked in a different way. So it's very interesting. You know how they say that poor people have problems and then rich people have different problems? Well, the rich are on the side sometimes, depending on how they're raised and who they are. They can be on the side of having the identity of being somebody successful, but then they don't do the work. They haven't put in that effort and they haven't earned their success. And so therefore they're blocked. They don't become as successful as their parents. And then their parents are very disappointed in them. And then on the other hand, the poor have a different problem when it comes to manifestation. They'll work really hard because they know how to, because they've struggled, but then they don't know how to embody success. They don't know how to identify with people who are wealthier than they are. They see them as the enemy. And so right when they're about to finish their projects, they self-sabotage because they don't know how to identify with the person who finished their project, right? And so that's very interesting. These are generalizations. Of course, everybody's a little bit different, regardless of their income level, but you need a good, healthy mix of both. You need to have the identity and then you need to earn it as well. You don't just buy stuff on Amazon, not pay for it, and expect for it to be delivered. Sometimes people see manifesting that way, whereas if I just believe in it and I identify with it, then I can just push send and I don't need to put my credit card information in. And that's not true. We actually do need to put our credit card information in. I mean, it's possible sometimes we do get free gifts when we order something that we didn't expect, and we do manifest things like that sometimes. Having said that, it's not the way it works all the time, and you can't just expect everything to come for free in life. There are things that need to be earned, there are goals that need to be achieved, and work that needs to be put in order to deserve your success. I hope that makes sense, and I hope you enjoyed my tutorial today about, is manifestation a lazy process? Sometimes, I'm not saying it never is, occasionally it can be, and that can be really fun when those events happen. But on the other hand, a lot of the time we do need to give something in order to get something. And one of the secrets to life is to give way more than you expect to get in return. For example, I've heard millionaires talk about this. What they end up doing is just working incredibly hard, and what they'll do is they'll give away about $10 million in value, and then they expect to get about $2 million in return for it, because then they at least get the $2 million. It's better than trying to, give away nothing and get nothing in return. It's kind of a different paradigm than people have when they're working, because sometimes when people are working, they have this idea that they can do less and still get paid the same amount of money. And so they'll try, I'm not saying this is all people who work, but some people try to work as little as possible to get their paycheck. And when you're an entrepreneur and you're trying to create value for people, you actually have to have the opposite mindset. You need to think about, what are the ways that I can give, and how can I give 10 times more than what I'm expecting to receive in payment in return. And when you're able to do that, that's when you've got a real shot at success. The reason why a lot of entrepreneurs fail, it's because that they don't put in that much effort. And when they don't put in that much effort, they can't get the reward or the return back. You have to put in a lot in order to get something back. I hope that makes sense, and I hope you enjoyed my video on manifestation today. If you have any comments about the manifestation process and how to get it to work better, definitely feel free to leave a comment below. If you enjoyed my video, please hit the thumbs up button, and don't forget to hit subscribe if you want to hear more video content on intuition and manifestation. I hope you're all having an amazing week, and take care.